Hi guys, and welcome back to another video of Bushcraft Essentials. I hope you're enjoying this little series, and if you have any recommendations of videos you want me to do on here, then please leave it in the comments. Right, so today's video is going to be on flint and steel and explaining what flint and steel is, how I go about doing it personally, and making a bird's nest to ignite your ember with your flint and steel that you create. So I hope you enjoy this video. Flint and steel is a primitive skill that really dates back a long time, and it's still carrying on through the generations. It's become quite popular in the bushcraft sort of community now. So I think fire skills are so important when you're outside in case of an emergency, and it's a basic skill that I think everyone should know. Sort of respect and understand fire and the whole concept of it, but also have the knowledge of how to put one out and leave no trace. So to do this, you will need a piece of steel and a piece of flint. You can find flint pretty much anywhere in the south of England, or they use different types of stone, such as quartz. You need a sort of hard stone that's going to ignite and scrape pieces of metal off your steel. So this is just a piece of carbon steel, and I've bought this, and it's shaped into a way that you can hold it into your hand comfortably and be able to strike the flint. And what you want is to find a piece of flint that is really sharp and has got a good edge on it in order to scrape enough material off your steel. If you can't find a piece this small or a piece that you can hold in your hand, then you can get a larger bit and you can smash it down by smashing them together, but you must watch your eyes, because if you get a piece of this in your eye, it's going to hurt and it's going to get stuck and could damage you. And what you do is literally apply force with them together to hopefully create a spark between the two objects to eventually create an ember, whether you're putting that in charred cloth or a different material. Like I said, you've got your flint and you've got your steel, and I've got a nice piece of flint here that I've collected from this woodland because there's flint scattered all over the place. It's all about the correct angle, applying the right force, and getting the right two pieces of flint and steel. And then it's all about practice and getting it down. So before I start that, what I need is to make a bird's nest to transfer the ember into that to then make a fire. Right, so once you've made your bird's nest and have your flint and steel with your charred cloth that you've either made or got, you will approach the next stage of starting the fire. You want a piece of flint with a nice sharp edge, and you want obviously really dry tinder, i.e. dry grass, bracken, or another dry tinder that you might have. You can double that up with feather sticks, with shavings, with birch bark, or just small birch or pine twig, and get into a rough shape of a bird's nest. Right, so I'm going to apply quite a bit of force, but not too much, that I'm going to smack off loads of chunks of flint and do it at a sort of angled position. And I think once you've got it, you've got it. It's sort of like a flick of the wrist action, but it takes a while just to get used to that motion. And then you want to angle it so it does fall onto your charred cloth. And once you've got your charred cloth, you want to keep that momentum going and make sure it ignites. So I'm going to do it now. I'm going to hopefully spark the charred cloth. That's going to ignite and cause an ember, and then I'm going to put it straight into my bird's nest / tinder bundle. And then after, you want to think about the triangle of fire, which is basically the three things that make a fire, which is fuel, that's obviously the wood, and the bird's nest I've got here. Second one is combustion or an ember, which I'm going to create. And then the third one is oxygen. So once I've got them two, I need to add oxygen. So happy days, we'll see how this goes. Wish me luck. So as you can see, it's now glowing orange. The wind's picked up. And I want to keep this going. It's kicking off a bit of heat already. So it's all down to your char cloth as well, because if your char cloth's not decent, it's just not going to catch a spark. And then it's just a slow process, and try not to panic and rush it. That's where it all goes wrong. So you can either use the wind in your advantage, depending on what way it's blowing. And then once you can see it nearly igniting, which it is starting to, angle it towards the wind and make sure your hands are out the way, because it's going to go up if you've got a decent bird's nest. I don't know if you can see now. I'll just put you down there. Lovely. Turn it upside down. And then I'm going to add the rest of my fuel, which is my twigs. And Bob's your uncle. What an amazing feeling it is to actually make fire and have that reward. And I think there's something so rewarding and satisfying about it when you light a fire, especially when you've done it in a more wholesome way and you're not just using a match or a lighter, even though they can be really convenient and really good to use. And this is obviously a skill that's in your roots, and it goes back so far, and you obviously feel so much more connected because it is such an old skill. And there's something lovely just sitting round a fire and just soaking it up, especially if you're cooking on it or it's cold or it's dark and you're just sitting round that like it's your TV. Right, so I've got my lovely percolated coffee. It's great to see that Kendal Mint have now made their own coffee, and they do coffee beans and the actual percolated coffee, which is awesome. And I'm going to try it now, so cheers. So that's lovely stuff. Thank you so much for watching yet another video. I really appreciate it. Thank you to all my Patreons for making this possible. Hope you enjoyed this. I will see you on next week's episode. Take care.